I was lucky as well to have my first proper band, the Ranch. And it was the first time I heard like people singing melodies that I wrote, which was insane. It happened at Rock the South. And it was absurd, but it was my first proper school, and that's where I started to really dive into improvisation. Bil-Malti ngħidu tank ħara kont.
How did it feel? Because honestly,
Oh my God.
Miskin, le, Kylo, little Kylo. The book is great. It helps you.
Sometimes you gotta be like, fuck the book and just...
But the thing is, you need to know the book so you can learn also how to shift. So for me, even academically with music, I want to learn the language properly as much as possible. So then I can learn how to kind of break things and make it my own. And but again, you can't, without sounding like I wouldn't do this in life, obviously. But if you want to learn how to break the rules, you need to know the rules first, properly.
Definitely.
what's up and welcome to The Last Ones. We're here with Kylo, Jeanine and I as usual. That's Luke. What's up, bro? Like, honestly, I'm very excited. You're our first guest here. We've been waiting for this a long time. Like,
and Kylo is the perfect person for this. Definitely.
I think you're going to regret it later.
You're just as weird as I am, so, it's going to be a good balance. So, there we go.
Yeah.
So let's give a little introduction to Kylo. Kylo is a multidisciplinary artist. You do a little bit of everything. I like to call you the Minestra artist because you literally have everything inside of you. But it's true. I mean, this man plays the drums, you play the guitar, you sing, you play the sitar. What else do you play? Do you play the bass?
Yeah.
You play the bass?
Piano a bit.
Oh, wow. Okay. So there's nothing that you don't do, basically.
And no. I mean, I haven't went into the brass world and horn section. I never played saxophone or...
Okay.
I haven't went there
yet.
Not yet. I don't have the time.
Amazing. So let's dive right in. I mean, we just said that you've been playing instruments for a very long time. You already know so much. You have a lot of experience, especially within the local scene as well. How long have you been playing music and where did that start?
Okay, so as long as I can remember, because at the age of 2, I was already performing with my mom's choir.
Wow.
So I started actually singing.
I didn't even know. Like, kids could sing at the age of 2, Like,
yeah, I mean, I've tried to sing, at that age. Fair. But, I was just exposed to music from a very young age because of my mom, because she's a singer. Probably people know her from the Eurovision and Felicia Brinkat. Yeah,
so she's the one who pushed you into music?
Yeah, I wouldn't say... She pushed me into singing a lot.
Okay.
Which I didn't like because the type of world she was into festivals, singing festivals, which was a bit too cheesy from me. From a very young age, I felt like this is not my kind of world. And I'm not saying anything against it, and there are a lot of people who still do it, and I admire them, and it's just a different scene for me, which I didn't really resonate with. That's the thing. But my mom really pushed me to do it.
Okay.
And I don't regret it, but I did have a bit of a bad relationship with singing because of that. Because it wasn't really what I wanted to do with music.
Okay, so being forced into something that wasn't really what you wanted to go down obviously put a bad taste in your mouth. So then how did that go from you deciding to pick up every single instrument and, teach yourself? Did you ever go to lessons or were those... Wow, so everything is self-taught.
Yes.
So how did that shift come about from singing to that?
So my mom, as many people know, she got into religion. And at that point, I had discovered the band called Lordi in the Eurovision.
Ah, classic.
And I also discovered one of the best films of my entire life till this day, School of Rock.
So good.
Yeah, that changed my life because I was like, okay, at that point I said I want to be a rock star. I want to play guitar, And it was very different from singing. I started to discover bands like AC/DC, Metallica. And then when I discovered Megadeth, I was like, whoa.
I love Megadeth.
What
It's
is
like,
this?
What is this? And I mean, nothing against the supporters of Metallica, but when I heard Megadeth for what I like, it was mind-blowing for me. When I listened to Marty Friedman with Megadeth playing solos like in Tornado of Souls and Holy Wars, I was like, what is this? Because he was very classical influenced, and but there was that rock element in there, you know,
Definitely.
that metal element. So that inspired me to start guitar.
So metal inspired you.
Yes.
And you are the furthest thing from a metal artist, I would say.
You have to listen to the whole album when it's out.
You see, guys, we weren't given the album from beforehand, so our research is lacking here. This is all on Kylo.
And there's a surprise in there,
Yes?
that's for sure. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Kylo goes metal,
Yeah,
guys.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. In fact, there's Joel in there.
Okay,
That's the one.
I'm already excited. Joel
Yeah.
is a fantastic artist,
Yes,
so
he is.
that's going to be
Definitely
a great
big shout
mix.
out. Yeah. Big shout out to him.
So you started off with metal.
Yes, that's where it started from. So then I started to try and learn as many music as possible, at least get close. How it started was at the age of 10, since I didn't really have like a foundation of a family, so I never had someone, which was bad and great at the same time. I never had someone pushing me to do school stuff because my mom
Okay.
was always busy. She was always trying to. She's a full-time musician, so she had to work a lot. So she couldn't be.
Wait, but like if I could ask, because
Yeah.
you said in a way like not someone pushing you, but then on the other side you were like, since you were 2, she was making you sing in the things. So
She-
maybe just specifically in music.
Yes,
like not in the
music.
other.
She pushed me to be in her choir.
Oh, it wasn't like in favor of all music. It was like
No, it was-
do the choir,
yeah,
not
do the
the
choir.
Megadeth.
Music.
The
Not
choir,
the
not the
Megadeth.
church.
Not church
No,
music.
then it
Never
was like the
mind.
festivals, because my mom is a teacher. She's a vocal teacher. So she pushed me into the world of how she teaches her students. So she tried to keep me in that kind of area, which is festivals and in the commercial scene and all that stuff. That's
Like
where
it's
she
more
really,
performative, a bit less like artistic in a way.
yeah, you
More
could-
about the performance.
not
I
really
see it, I don't know.
not the performance. It's more about the commercial stuff. It's more about the typical Maltese kind of
Like top songs.
yeah,
like pop songs.
pop songs, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
did she see this as like a form of rebellion when you went straight into like metal music? Because that's a complete different
Yes,
shift.
yes and no. So I convinced her to tell her that, like, listen, like, Jesus created music, you know.
One love, mama, one love.
You know, so he created. If he created music, he
He
created,
created
rock.
metal.
Yeah, definitely he created metal.
Amazing.
But I mean, obviously, like with her, like being, my mom was supportive all the time, though. Like I never, she really tried to push me with vocals, but she was never like, you have to sing and not play guitar or anything of this sort. Like, she left me quite free to do what I needed to do.
Okay.
With singing, she really pushed it. There were moments, I remember when I was at the age of 14, I remember that she wanted me to enter into this competition called Arpeggi, which actually changed my life a bit there. And this was basically a singing competition on Net TV. And I was still 14, if I'm not mistaken. And I told her, the only way you're going to convince me to actually compete in the show is if I get to play guitar live. And my gosh, she managed.
Wow.
And I was the only contestant that was playing guitar live and singing.
Did you get through?
I did, but I didn't win the
Okay.
performance. I think I ended up being in the finals though, or the semifinals, something like that. But that changed my life because there was William Manjon and Paula Bella. So this
Okay.
is where my career started.
At 14.
Yeah. At that point, then I started to play every week with William Manjon and also Ozilino.
Classic.
And then where it really started was big shout out to Maestro Paula Bella.
Wow.
That's when I did Ġensna. So that's where I started to also play with his son, Ryan Polabella.
You were in Ġensna.
Yes,
Rock.
I was this big dude with Mark
Wow.
Galia.
For those who don't know what Ġensna was, it was basically a huge, I mean,
It's
like
like
a
a
musical, a very religious musical that was from
I don't
one
think
of
it was it religious or was it about
it had religious, I mean,
I forgot.
aspects. I guess
Yes.
it was religious because it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
based around like the Bible stories,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
turned
yeah.
into a musical by one of the parties, the political parties, and it was huge.
Yes,
It was huge
exactly.
in Malta, and I
Yes.
think Ġensna was something that everybody remembers. This
For sure.
came out what 90s, early 2000s.
Yes, something like that, or maybe even older.
Wow.
I think maybe even older. I'm not sure if it was late 80s.
It was just a very big
all I know,
rock celebration.
Yes, all I know is that Polabella had just gotten back from Berklee College of Music. He was one of the first guys who went to America with City. It was
Amazing,
very
City.
it was
Wow.
Allah yaghfirlu. So it was pretty new.
Huge for you.
Huge, yeah. For this one, yeah, it was very huge. But it was very new for people to know that, there are people who are going to Berklee. Sorry? 84, there we go.
1984,
There
so
we go.
in the 80s, not even in the
Oh,
90s.
Mel, I remember like Mary Spiteri, right? Mary
course.
Spiteri in her prime, and she sang Tema 79, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
Mela, they and Paul always had the greatest musicians of Malta, And I felt very lucky to be part of that because that's where I started to know how serious it can get with music.
Definitely.
And the rehearsals, the intensity of rehearsals,
The seriousness.
Yes, which I wasn't too prepared for it. I was always disciplined in practicing because for me it wasn't a matter of discipline for me to practice. It was always a matter of instead of I'm grabbing my PlayStation, I'm grabbing the guitar.
Exactly. It was something that came out of passion.
Yeah, definitely. And I didn't get to experience the internet until I was 13, 14. Because my mom had her own and she didn't really like me to use it, but I didn't have my own because we couldn't afford it.
Okay, fair.
So for me, the only way I had a CD, my mom used to burn it's illegal, but then he used to do it,
Classic.
On RS. I don't know if you remember RS, and she used to put down all the songs that I told her to download for me, and then I just used to listen to that. And what I used to do for hours, stay with the guitar in front of a mirror, and just imagine me actually being on stage and playing the music.
Wait, but you said that you were disciplined in practicing because it came from passion.
Yeah.
But where did the discipline lack then? Because I felt like there was a bit of a hesitation there.
So the discipline lacked from me not having basic idea how to take care of myself, how to be on time.
I mean, you were in your early teens, so that's very understandable.
Yes. But again, not having the cliche basic needs from parents. I felt that I lacked certain discipline, because I didn't find it.
Okay.
I didn't find someone who pushes me to go places on time, to have a shower, to eat properly. I was pretty much free in a way.
But you were maybe too laid back. Did that affect
Yes.
your music in any way or the way that you developed as an artist?
Yes.
Because that is a prime time in any
It
artist's
did.
life, is the beginning of when you're actually figuring out what kind of musician you want to be, when you're really getting these opportunities like Ġensna and then whatever came after.
Yeah.
How did that affect you?
So, obviously, these experiences taught me a lot. Having said that, all this experience that I was going through, I was still very young and also trying to understand how I can fix certain things of me not being in time, having to go with the bus as well. And I was also young, so I used to stay up late and all this stuff. But then the fact that I was so laid back, what it helped me with is that as an artist, I didn't used to really think that much when I played. So it really
Just took
affected.
over you.
I really had an effect of how I look at improvisation then, So that laid back feel, not worrying too much, being irresponsible and all this
And I
stuff.
think this is very true with an artist. When you're very disciplined, you're very used to being by the book.
You become rigid.
Following it, yes.
You
and
become
then
rigid.
improv becomes very hard to master.
Yeah.
So in reality, you kind of learned it backwards.
Yes, I
Which
did.
was something that I can imagine must have been hard. But looking
100.
back now, you say, wow,
Yeah.
I got it backhanded, but then at the same time I kind of managed to do something that maybe some other artists didn't really have that easy of going into improv.
Definitely. In fact, at the age of 16, I was lucky as well to have my first proper band, The Ranch. I don't know if you,
Of course.
some people may have heard about that, but it was the original members were me, Benjo Rancho, and Di Montanaro.
Okay.
And for us, it was all the very first experience of having a proper band. And it actually did well later as well. And it was the first time I heard like people singing melodies that I wrote, which was insane. It happened at Rock the South. And it was absurd, but it was my first proper school. And that's where I started to really dive into improvisation and how much it reflects the way I think, you know. But then obviously, like later on in time, like by the age of 19, 20, I felt like I took a bit of a step back from being so obsessed with music and getting a bit more into building a better relationship with myself, taking care of certain aspects that I needed to.
But do you feel like music is the thing that stopped that?
No. Music is what helped me to get there. Always. Music. So music, that's why I think I was so obsessed with it, because it was my safe space.
Yeah.
That was, I think that's how I built everything, was through music, you know, even where I am nowadays, you know, even having one of the best partners of my life, Elisa.
Through music, definitely. Because you met your partner.
Through Elisa. Hello, Elisa.
Through Elisa. You met Elisa through Elisa.
I met
yes.
Elisa. Yeah. Cut this, guys. Cut this out, guys. No,
Perfect. That's all
Elisa
we
to
need. We can
Tribali.
cut everything else. Through Tribali. So
Tribali.
obviously for people who don't know or who are living under a rock, I mean, KYL0 is one of the main members of Tribali at the moment. You play sitar and guitar for them.
Yeah.
So you met Elisa through that project, not
Yeah.
before.
Yeah. I met her at Ġensna the first time. I was 15.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's the first time I met her.
Amazing.
That's the first time I met her. But
So
obviously,
still through a musical setting.
yes. I mean, even the friends that I have in my life, the opportunities that I have in my life, the knowledge that I have of life till this day is through music. I see life pretty much from the lens of music. In the sense, even improvisation in itself, you know, that with improvisation, you have a lot to work on. Like, you have to build your vocabulary, your grammar. Like, right now, what we're doing is improvisation. We didn't really prepare.
Completely.
You know, we didn't prepare for it. You know, we're just flowing, you know. And, but we had to go to school, learn grammar, and this is why we can communicate in English as well, you know. So music is a little bit much the same. You need to learn the grammar, and you need to learn how to deliver your words. Same with music. And you prepare for the unknown, basically, you know. And it's pretty much like life, if you think about it. It's pretty much like life, you know, like you go to school, you go to university, you learn and you become knowledgeable, but you only start to use what you learn once you start playing in life, you know? And if you play too much by the book, you're going to start to realize that this doesn't really work like that, you know? So the book is great. It helps you.
Sometimes you gotta be like, fuck the book and just...
But the thing is, you need to know the book so you can learn also how to shift. So for me, even academically with music, I want to learn the language properly as much as possible. So then I can learn how to kind of break things and make it my own. And but again, you can't, without sounding like I wouldn't do this in life, obviously, but if you want to learn how to break the rules, you need to know the rules first, you know, properly.
Definitely.
But I learned that the other way around.
You learned everything the other way around. Wow.
That's it. For me, it's literally
bil-kontra.
everything kollox bil-kontra.
Kollox bil-kontra.
Kollox bil-kontra.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Like even the way I learned scales, for example, people would learn scales the first thing. For me, it was always I learn music, like for example, learn a song. And then I discover, okay, he's doing like a melodic minor there. And then I start to understand, like, obviously what he's doing, all right, but I get to start learning a scale not from a theoretical aspect, but from a musical aspect. So...
Do you think you're like very practical in a way in your learning?
I'm very practical.
It's like you have a goal as well. You're not just like you're
was
learning
getting
the
to
theory for the goal. Yeah,
Yes.
I'm interested on, because clearly you've been able to learn like a good amount of instruments to a good level, like, so
Absolutely.
obviously you have some good tips to like maybe apply to learning even anything, right? Like the ability of learning.
That's exactly it. That's how I got in this far. Even like with my album launch, 7th November.
7th November.
Yeah.
There it is.
Like for example, that shocked me a bit, the album, because it wasn't really much music related getting ready for this. It was all logistics, administration, proposals. I never
Like bureaucracy.
Yeah, man. I mean, I've never applied for
This is the thing. Like when you're learning music, you're focusing on the music. You obviously need to. That's the basis and the foundation.
100%.
However, when you're actually deciding, okay, I want to make this into my full-time thing. I'm not just going to be a teacher and then a musician on the side doing like gigs in a restaurant every Saturday, you know?
Yeah.
Like I want to be a full-time musician, which I feel like is the goal for most musicians on the island.
Yeah.
That's where they get stuck, because what do you do next? I know the music, I know the chords, I got a great band or I got a great vocalist, whatever. But what now? The logistics are always very lacking here. And I think that's lacking even in music schools that we have in Malta.
100%.
The few music schools that we have, there's still not a lot of how do you prepare to actually launch an album, how to actually market your music. It's something that's so lacking and definitely not prioritized. I don't think anybody has really come and said, guys, this might be something that we really need to change.
Yeah.
How did you teach that to yourself? Did you manage to learn that from other people, or was it something you're just like trial and error, you know, fuck it, I'm in it, I'm going to do it?
So it comes a long way. It comes from the frustration I have with the fact that I have been a full-time musician since I was 14 years old. So it's very frustrating. Like if you have to think about it, if I am in a gaming company and I was in that company since the age of 14 till now, I'm 29, going to be 29 in October. If you think about it and I kept progressing, I would have been promoted I don't know how many times by that time.
Could have made about an apartment's worth of money.
Yeah, exactly. But with
Damn.
you know, like, but if you think about it with music, you don't really get promoted.
No.
Unless you do something about it. You know, so I wouldn't say it's just for the musician though. I would say for any sector that is self-employed as well. You know, some musicians, I think, in my opinion, obviously I wouldn't say all, is that when they're trying to make a living out of it, they don't realize that you have to make it a business. You have to think like someone who's opening a restaurant or someone who's actually building a hotel. In a way, and even like, for example, the only guy that comes up into my head randomly is like, for example, Elon Musk. Like he started to build his company from nothing. Or even the guy of Apple.
Mark Zuckerberg.
No, that's
Steve
Facebook.
Jobs.
Steve Jobs.
He was a
I know them all by heart, yeah, bro.
Music knowledge, 10 out of 10. Technology knowledge, apparently 0.
So
Potato, guys.
So, like, for example, Steve Jobs, if I'm not mistaken, people might tell me it's not, but I think when I saw his documentary, he started in his room, in a small garage, you know, from nothing, you know, when he started to build. And he was not a rich guy, you know. And I've come to realize that even some of the people that I've been meeting in the private sector, they don't actually come from a rich background either. They start from nothing. And I think it's a bit worse than I am, because these people started from actually minus.
Wow.
So what made them so special is that it wasn't just about building a software and building that was the point, but I think it's the way that they marketed, how they built their team, their partnership, and also, you know, how you're going to deliver your brand, and you know, all of this stuff. And obviously what made Steve Jobs so great is that, at least for me with Apple, it's a really good quality, like for me, for production.
Yeah,
so
it's just good. Like at the end of the day, you just watch
it's just
it 'cause
good.
it's good.
It's
Yeah,
good.
it
It's good.
stands up.
But imagine there wasn't a team that didn't market. Obviously, the quality has to be good, because if the quality is not good, you're going to market something that people
true.
are not going to like.
But that's advertising. We
Yeah.
need to think about the market, like the pre-existing demand. And
Yeah.
I have to say, this is a hard issue in music that no one wants to face. Like,
Yeah.
how many, I'm curious your take on it. How many more people want to make the music than listen to it? Like, how many people are sitting
Yes.
there like, I need new music?
Yeah.
And how many want to make it? So it's like tougher than almost any other business. Like, because
Yeah.
I don't know, I'd really like some like utility thing, right? Like you need a laptop. Like we need
Yeah.
a laptop almost. But
The
how do you-
demand.
I guess the question would be, how do you create a demand in that case? Like how,
Very good
how
point.
do you get this
That's
going?
such a very great point. Looking at people like Lewis Cole, for example. So Lewis Cole, you could say he started from a jazz background. His influencers were Buddy Rich, and Tony Williams, which are all like the guys in the traditional jazz music. But Lewis Cole created something that he managed to find his niche, and by time he got millions of views, and by time he became an artist that opened up for Red Hot Chili Peppers. And what he did is he made his music very fun and relatable. And
But he pushed his niche as well.
he pushed his niche.
He really pushed the limits of his niche.
Exactly.
It's like he never changed genre
No.
per se,
No,
but there was so much more that went into it.
exactly. It's how he delivered himself
Yeah.
to the people, and his way of thinking, and he kind of broke the rules in the jazz world as well, you know. A lot of people, I think, have criticized him, especially I think in Malta. You know, it was at the Jazz Fest. I
Yeah.
was like in front, jumping.
Oh,
I knew
that's a story. That's a story. So basically, just a little rundown. This last Malta Jazz Fest, they bring down amazing musicians. They brought down insane musicians this year, every year. But obviously,
insane.
they are, I mean, very profound
Jonathan Blake.
jazz. Oh, wow. Amazing guy, New York man. But they obviously they have these prestigious people coming down and playing fantastic jazz. And jazz in a nutshell is obviously, you know, very mellow. It's still very upbeat, but it's in a box. You can
Yeah.
tell jazz what it is from A to B to Z, whatever.
Yeah.
Then there comes Nowhere. So they booked Nowhere, this band, which is, they are like an electronic jazz band. You know, it's like saying reggae and metal, electronic and jazz. How do those mix in? They can mix in, but it takes a very particular way of doing it to make it sound good. And there was
he's
a
almost
shift
pop.
in a crowd. Yes.
He's almost pop, you could say. It's very pink.
Definitely.
He's very pink.
Definitely. But the thing is, that shift in that crowd that day was something that I will never forget, because you got the normal loyal jazz listeners, which are the older crowd as well, maybe let's say like 30s upwards. But there was a big amount of the generation gap was big there. There was a bigger amount of the older generation.
Yes.
Listening to all these jazz musicians, and then Nowhere comes on, and all of a sudden you just get these younger generation, people our age in 20s, early 30s, everyone just flooded the stage. flooded, and it was insane because I don't think Jazz Fest has ever seen such a young demographic attend,
Yes.
and I think that was their goal.
Exactly.
However, they made a big mistake by obviously not calculating that people are going to want to dance to this music. This
Yeah.
is not the type of jazz music that you listen to normally,
Yeah.
where you sit down and you really relax and enjoy it.
Yeah.
This is the type of jazz music that you get up
It's
and
a
you
party.
go crazy.
It's a party, and that's how you can create demand. Everyone wants to party and celebrate.
Yep.
Think about it. I think even like, for example, why do DJs have like they're like the busiest at this point in time? Because people like party music. I'm not saying that I want to change my music to party music, but what
You want
I'm
to give
saying
it an essence of relatability.
of relatability is again, you brought up a very good point, which is the demand, and it is very tough. It is very tough what you're speaking of, because by making music so accessible,
The whole home studio revolution, like make it anywhere as well, right? Like affect the supply.
not even that. I'm talking about that you can go just listen to anyone's music on Spotify.
Without buying it, yeah.
And before, back in the day, if someone had a vinyl, it was special.
Yeah.
Like, you have a vinyl, it means that you
That
are
was
rich.
the main way to make the money from music,
Exactly,
right? Like
and-
people still want it, they just get it for free now.
Yeah. And before, like, if you had a vinyl, you must be a special, like, rich. Like, you must be rich. How did you get the money to get that vinyl? Bro, I'm coming to your house and we're going to listen to that, because it was so rare to be able to access music. So back in the day, it was special. That
it was much more appreciated.
it was
as well.
much, obviously, because you didn't have that much access to it. And till now, this day, we can't live without music. There are people
No.
that say that they do. Some people, they say
Psychopaths. No, but it's true.
But the music does some sort of thing to us, so that
There's music all around us at the end of the day, even
Exactly.
if while you're washing the dishes and you're tapping your fingers on the table, that's music. It doesn't have to
exactly.
be music that you're listening to on Spotify.
exactly
If you're whistling, music.
100%, you know. So music at this point, I think its essence, its actual essence, it's a tool that came from us to communicate with one another. If we have to think really old, back in the day, they used sounds just to know that there's another guy on the other side of the mountain. It was
Hey!
exactly, and even music was always used for also celebration, and tribes, they used to use it for celebration, you know.
But the core was always communication.
It was always communication. And nowadays, I feel that there is a lot of music, but not a lot of communication through music.
What I liked, like I saw,
100%.
to prepare, I saw like your live set of like the album launch of Placard.
Oh,
And like you were explaining a lot of the songs, like we were doing like interludes on the mic.
oh wow! Where did you see this?
on
I
YouTube
forgot.
somewhere.
Really?
Yeah. I think on the 141 Records YouTube channel, you see?
The archives,
The label's keeping it up there.
guys.
Whoopsie.
And
Okay.
like it's true, you communicated well. I really like that
wow.
part. Like I would have no idea what it meant otherwise. It sounded nice, but like I would have no idea. And at least then you start thinking about the topic, you know, while you're
Yeah.
hearing it.
In fact-
and then it makes sense. But you wouldn't I would not stumble on it on my own. I don't
Yeah.
think most people would generally, you know.
Yeah. In fact, that's how I'm trying to promote this album, you know. In fact, I'm doing a vinyl listening party where people can come. They listen to the vinyl. We listen to the vinyl together. It's an exclusive thing, but we're also gonna make an interview, and we're gonna talk about the story behind the album and the story from how it came technically, as how the idea came about and
But
how it was
also
recorded.
emotionally.
But also,
I mean,
for me, music. Listen, like I don't want to sound. I mean, I really work hard on the technical side of music because I need to learn how to speak and to speak fluently. But people do not care whether you play that chord or not. people come there because
Yeah,
they want
for sure, just for the emotion,
For
the
the-
vibe, you could call it the
They
energy,
just want to
you know?
feel something.
They want to feel
People
something.
listen to music to feel something,
feel-
even if that feeling is to feel nothing,
Yeah.
to go numb. You are listening to music for a purpose.
That's it. That's
You know?
it. 100%. And at the same time, that's why I work really hard with music, because I want to really learn how I can direct every note that I'm playing. I want to actually put meaning in every note and every sound that comes out from me, even if I don't want it to. And
It's a very vulnerable position.
it is. And obviously, the way I want to deliver music, I want to deliver it in the best quality so that I can help the listener receive something of quality, so that I can put him in a state, not me, it's the music. I'm just a human being, you know?
But yes, I mean, just a little pause because we're talking about the album. But for those who don't know, KYL0 right now is on his very first ever solo project.
Yeah.
This man has been in so many bands. Oh my God. I think you've been in more bands than people have changed t-shirts within the last week. It is insane. You've been in a lot of different bands, from Tribali to The Ranch to, we mentioned the Placard Project.
Yeah.
What else has there been? Quick rundown.
I mean, most of the other stuff, it was, I actually was in a death metal band called
Seismic, whatever that is.
Yeah,
like,
we never
there's
went
so
out
many
live.
that I still don't even
There's
know. all of the bands.
Saintless Feel. I had a project with Dean this was right before The Ranch. Dean Montanaro, Glenn Montanaro, Melchior Buzutil.
Fantastic
And,
musicians.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, and myself. And that album never
But-
came out. I think Mr. Luc remembers.
There we go.
Mr. Luc.
141 Records have the I'm telling the
He
epitome
has-
of the underground music scene's archives.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But this is the thing. You've been in a lot of bands,
Yep.
but you've never discovered yourself as a solo musician. So
No.
this is the first time KYL0 is doing this.
Yep.
And it's fantastic because, like you're saying, you're really kind of stripping back what we're used to having as an album launch. Oh, there's a countdown, there's a bunch of social media promotion, and then we go straight into Spotify and then gig. You're kind of doing it in a more back to our roots, the way that I'm seeing
Yeah.
it, where you're doing a vinyl listening party. When the hell do you ever see that happen anymore? Your promotion on social media is strategic. It isn't just flooding you. It's strategic with a purpose. You know, it's just making you feel light and it's funny content, and it's just like, guys, listen, there's this really random thing that I wrote and we're doing a project with it and we're doing this. You're gathering in musicians as well, fantastic musicians, to come and help you when you're doing gigs. This man did a gig at a Turkish shop. Like, when would you see
Can we
this?
mention Posh Turkish? Posh Turkish!
There we go.
Whoa. Because when he showed me the song, you know,
Yeah.
like the Turkish song, which will be out when this
Turkish
podcast
song.
is out.
My friend.
And like, I have to say, this is honest, I have no affiliation with Posh Turkish. I eat a lot of Turkish.
Yeah.
The Posh
I eat Turkish all the time.
give the best like portion by far. Like,
Right?
more sometimes
Yeah.
literally
Turks are
double
generous.
or triple other unknown competitors.
I love
no,
this guy.
other Turkish shops, I'm saying.
There we go.
Like, I can't say.
If
I
you guys
haven't
don't sponsor
tried
us
the
after
one of
this,
Imri
well.
Hell yet. I haven't tried the one of Imri Hell.
It's
Am I the one in Parma? Like, they fill it up.
Yes.
It's the same, I imagine.
in the quad, I think the lamb is thicker. Am I right? Is it thicker?
Really? You think they
Funk
put
is
in
going
more?
yes.
He knows, he knows.
All right. I'm not sure if
Man.
they changed it in Pub, but in the quad, it's the lamb is.
Exclusive, guys. KYL0
Thick.
likes thick lamb.
I'll
Oh,
check this
yeah.
out sometime soon.
Hey!
But no, but
Sorry,
you know what
Eliza.
I mean? This is the first time I'm going to say this. I don't know if I should, and we can cut it out later, but the first time that you showed me, my friend, the song, or as Luke likes to refer to it, the Turkish song. It basically goes as, I eat Turkish all the time. And I looked at KYL0 and I went, this basically sounds like, you know, if you had a Turkish girlfriend, you're like, I eat Turkish all the time. So it was such, there's so many innuendos there, when in reality, it's just a funny song. It's just a song about a man who loves to eat Turkish. But it's true.
Janine, this is Hamalajni, yeah?
Sorry, I thought we were on a different podcast. no, but you get what I mean.
Yes,
Like,
of course.
There's this silly element to it where
Yeah.
it's just about a man who likes to eat
Turkish.
Turkish, and
it's
sometimes-
relatable.
Yes, and it doesn't have to be any more than that. There is a
Yeah.
story behind it. We can get into that as
Yeah.
well, because I
Yeah.
feel like that's very deep rooted into your story. But
Yeah.
aside from that, just scratching the surface, sometimes music is taken way too seriously. Like, I'm not sure if you agree.
For sure. And
Just-
like, go on.
You want to say first, or it's a
I'll
short
talk
thing.
later.
This is why I said I look at life with the lens of music, because we also take lives too seriously sometimes.
Oh yes, life is a
Definitely.
big joke, guys. It's one big joke. Like it's crazy. If I start like saying random things that the universe has thrown at me, I feel like I can write a whole comedy script.
Oh yeah, for
Life
sure.
is one big joke, and I feel like
Yep.
music has not declined, but it has taken a fall where people take it too damn seriously.
Yes.
And like you mentioned, Lewis Cole last time, right? Lewis Cole, a fantastic musician who just doesn't care. When he came to Malta, he was basically going, Malta, I love Malta. And he was just taking the piss. He was taking the absolute piss. You know, and people who know him and know his music
Why is
know.
that taking the piss? He
It's
was
just-
just greeting
No,
them.
no, it's
But you didn't
the
like his
accent that he
voice
did-
or
no.
how he does it. Like,
He does this quirky thing to him where he just goes, I love you, Malta. I came to Malta today, man. And I'm like, whoa, sunny island, Malta.
he's
It's
just
him taking-
greeting them. I don't think
No. But you have to. Sorry, I hit the mic. I wanted to touch
Uh-huh.
you. Sorry.
Oh, wow.
There was like a reverb. He puts like reverb on his mic, so he did Malta.
Yeah.
You just keep hearing it echo. You had to be there because
Yes.
he has to see the context. But what she's trying to say is that he wouldn't see.
he was trolling like a
He
bit.
was. The man was just taking the piss out of it. Even the lead singer, when we were talking about this division where they didn't realize that people are going to want to dance to this music, in the middle you have the seats.
Yeah.
Which the older generation where we're obviously sitting, the people who bought the tickets had that. So they didn't let anyone in front of the stage dancing because
Yeah.
they couldn't disrupt the seats. So everyone was pushed to the side with security holding them back, and everyone was going crazy. And at a point, the lead singer just went, it's okay if you guys want to dance, you know, like she was just taking the piss. She was like, yo guys, this is just music, like get up and dance.
Yeah,
And it's like
yeah.
you just see people sitting down to really fantastic music and everyone on the side going crazy. So you can see that contrast between people that take
They
music
weren't planning
seriously.
for it and might as well.
I just think they
at a
didn't
certain
realize that
age or
logistical
something that
side.
They wanted to sit down.
Yes. But then anyway, that's a whole other thing. But
Yeah.
I feel like music nowadays, that is where the next, because we were already mentioning there's oversaturation. It's very
Yep.
easily accessible. So what's going to make you stand out? Where is this demand going to keep on coming on?
Yeah.
By not taking it so seriously.
That's
you know?
it. That's it. By not taking
And you
it.
are doing it. You are absolutely doing it at the
And
moment.
the key, I think, is just be honest. Really be honest. Like, don't put any filter of like how. Don't put that infiltration in your mind how people are going to receive it. Just be your honest self and do it with the intention for people, though, at the same time. You
and
know?
this is something that you can completely project into life as well, besides music. Just even making friends, getting gigs that you love, or you know, being in a place where you're happy with your life. It's just being authentically you.
Yeah.
So music is a very big projector to that.
Definitely. And what I feel is that the problem is not. What I feel the problem is to take people out of their house to come there. Because once they come there, it's all good.
Yeah, getting them there though.
It's getting
them there.
Because then when they're there, they realize that, okay, like, this was actually worth it. I didn't expect that. And like.
Random question
Yeah.
though. Do you think that there has been this harsher reality of getting people out to listen to live music?
I think so. And
Like recently I've been feeling it and I haven't really had a conversation about it yet. And
I wouldn't blame people because life has changed a lot. It has become much faster. It has become a lot
more
hard.
expensive.
Exactly. It's become too hard to have fun.
Yeah.
It's become if you lose track of the point of why you're doing everything and you get caught up with life and just keeping up with surviving in this life that we're living in at this point, are you really gonna feel like going out and listen to music, or
But
you're
this
just
is the thing.
and
We have video games to compete with now, you know what I mean? Netflix.
Honestly,
like,
the
But
attention
50
span.
years ago, there was a lot less other things to do.
yeah. But then once
But
they're
it's all,
there,
like you said, whenever I'd get there, which is quite rarely, like, and I see a band playing live, it impresses you. It's different.
Because it's the
like
quality.
you hear the
It's
actual
like
music.
freezer
Yeah.
food and fresh food. If you're
Yeah.
listening to music at home on your iPhone, on whatever you listen to, that's freezer
Yeah.
food. Okay, you're getting an experience, but it's not that authentic experience. The
Yeah.
minute you go to a live gig, that is the fresh food. That is where you go, wow.
Wow. Yeah, yeah,
This is what I've been waiting to taste.
The
you
funny
know?
thing is that people do go out there when there are like the traditional Maltese
Yeah.
concerts. You'd find thousands of people because it's much more appealing to the norm of how things go and how things sound.
But this is the same reason why the underground remains the underground, because it's only become not
But
accessible. The only people that go are the people that already know about it.
Yeah,
People
but-
on the outside don't feel the need or the want to taste
that.
And
But
I feel like once they do, it's like, heroin. You can't get enough. Man.
exactly, and I think that's what I'm trying to aim for, and not just for myself. I mean, I'm doing it for myself, but with the intention that later other artists can, and there are obviously other artists who are doing it. It's not just me, but I'm doing it so that other artists can benefit from this, and I don't want this underground thing to remain so underground, because in essence, what at least I'm trying to do is offer a service to people, which is be my authentic self, express what I need to express, and touch your spirit. Whether
Yeah.
not in a religious or but we all feel music. We know, like, there are a lot of people who listen to Pink Floyd when they go home, like the older generation, and they feel like, yeah, I feel understood. I feel,
Yeah.
like this sense of like, it's like it fills a void.
Yes.
So I would like this to be reached more to people, even outside the underground, because I feel there needs the space for it, and I see it a lot in abroad. Like, for example, Jacob Collier, case in point. He has thousands of people going to his concerts, and it's crazy that he always gets like thousands. His music is quite chaotic. If I had to listen to it, I wouldn't. I'm a big fan of Jacob Collier, but I'm not yet connected with listening to his albums. But live is a different story.
Yes.
Live is a different story. The way he plays everything, the way he's curating it, and even the sound. It makes sense what he's doing, because he's literally going from one instrument to the other
But this
so
is the thing, they're
seamlessly.
two very different.
They're two very different.
experiences.
Exactly, that's it. But people like Jacob Collier, people like Lewis Cole, Thundercat.
Like do-rag.
Exactly. These are all people who are seeing music. I mean, think about it. Like Jacob Collier, you could say he's super knowledgeable, super educated, even in terms of the way he speaks English, the way he speaks about theory. But he looks at theories from such an emotional point of view. For him, it's colors, and even he explains to you that if you're playing, let's say, for example, we are in the key of G, okay? And G is the first note. For him, that is home. For me, it's home. That's home, okay? We have G, I'm not probably singing G, but whatever. And then you have G, A, I'm not probably in key, but whatever. Da, di, ra, ra, ra. Da, but you see what I mean?
Yes.
Like I didn't finish that, and it created that sort of tension. So for me,
It's like, what's next?
it's like if I had to da re ra ra re ra ra, how badly do you want? Da.
Such a tease.
It's so music
Yeah.
creates that, and he sees it from that aspect. So I believe these people reach out to people because they see music as a form of communication. And obviously he has a big team. I mean, Jacob Collier was, I wouldn't say lucky. He when he posted his first video on YouTube, he was already Jacob Collier. He was, I think, more Jacob Collier than he is now.
Probably.
Because what I loved about him is his arrangements. His arrangements are incredible.
Yeah.
And he's just literally just using his voice and chords, you know. And he got recognized immediately by Quincy Jones and Herbie Hancock. So he immediately got offered to be in Quincy Jones' label. So obviously it's gonna help out because you're gonna have the best team and they're gonna help you with promoting, network, and all that stuff. So in that sense, you could say Jacob Collier touches the surface of underground because not a lot of people know about him, but at the same time, there are people like Tori Kelly who performed with him. And if I'm not mistaken, even Ariana Grande. Or I'm not sure if Ariana Grande with Thundercat, to be fair.
Okay.
But then again, Thundercat.
Yeah. Funky's telling us it's the second one.
Oh, okay. It's the second one, right?
Yes.
And I'm trying to remember.
But do you think that these people made it out of the underground because they moved from where they were? I mean,
Yes.
you as an artist, you don't really stay in Malta much. You kind of travel around quite a bit. You're about to go to London tomorrow, in fact, as well. So,
I keep
as in the
forgetting.
time where this is being filmed.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you are constantly traveling around. You're constantly going and experiencing life with musicians abroad and seeing what else is out there. Do you think that is a vital part of being a musician nowadays?
100%. 100%.
How did that start? How did you manage to get such a connection abroad? Because I'm sure anyone who's listening right now, who's a musician themselves, who's like, you know what, this is what I need to do, but I don't know how to do it.
So I can start saying from now, like, thank you to Elisa for the immense emotional support that I had when I was making this move, because I had a chunk of money that I saved up after COVID, you know, and at that point work wasn't as intense as it was before COVID. So I had to make a decision. Am I going to use this money and risk it all, go to London without knowing if people are actually going to want to play with me? Or actually people would want to play with me? So
It was a gamble.
It was a big gamble.
So you had nothing planned from before? Like you just took some like spending cash, time, energy, and you just go. Like.
All I had planned was there's this amazing saxophone player called Parthenope, I think, and she was kind enough. She has quite of a name in the London scene. I might have pronounced her name wrongly, but I think that's how you pronounce it. But anyways, she was kind enough to send me a place which was called Colour Factory in London. And that's the only place I knew where I could go and jam. And
that's the hardest part, always finding the good local jam out in a foreign country. Because you can find good gigs, but you can't find that good underground local jam. It's very hard. You need to know the locals.
Definitely. So then Elisa always believed in what I do, and sometimes a bit more than I did. But at the same time, like, I know that I had a quality that I can offer, and I know that somehow that it can be understood somehow, I said. But I was going crazy, you know, because I didn't know if I'm going to do it or not. And then Elisa just told me, just book the accommodation and the flights and I'm coming with you. And she was, yeah. She was very supportive. So I went there and I went to the first jam. And I was the first guitar player that played.
Okay.
After because there's always
like a small line.
The house band, there's the house band, and then I was the first guitar player that played when they opened the jam. And there was this guitar player, he's amazing, called Tijo. Yeah, he's the man. And I played, and he wasn't playing. He was the guitar player. He was just staying next to me and telling me, like, this is the pedal that you need to press, blah, blah, blah. This is the overdrive and all that stuff. And he was just there, you know, just observing. And it was a fun jam. Obviously, I was like, wow, man, I'm playing with such great musicians here. And it's like, In Malta, we don't have a lot of jams where you feel like everyone is listening yet.
I know what you mean.
Because it's not their fault. There isn't much education about jamming. There should be. I'm thinking of doing classes about jamming, in fact.
But you're talking about the musicians on stage.
The musicians on stage, and the level of listening and the level of you're not doesn't sound like a jam. It sounds like music on the spot. It sounds like a song.
Yeah.
That's how they always make their jams sound.
Wow.
It doesn't sound like, and everyone is saying their thing in the right time. Not everyone is like doodling and playing over each other. Everyone is creating melodies on the spot. I was looking at the bass player, and she was doing this and this. She was basically saying the intervals. Let's go on the 3, and now on the 4 and 5, and they were giving signals. So, like they really
take it seriously.
They take it seriously. They take it very seriously, the jam. And after it finished, okay, and yeah, I stayed in contact with the guitar player, and the guitar player just sends me all the jam places. And
so you just need one good link.
Yeah, he sent me all the jam places. And then I remember at the very end, I got COVID there.
Oh, shit, here we go again.
Yeah. It was the first time I got COVID. But so I think I had spent a week and a half, like I couldn't go jam. But then it's like everything happens for a reason. I went to this specific jam, and then there was this house band, and there was this guy called Cassius, and this is where it started. So Cassius Copson, he's a drummer, but he also plays keys. And
It's
after
got a really cool name.
yeah, he is
Cassius.
Cassius
I would
Copson.
swap.
Yeah, he's great. He's a great guy. Big shout out if he ever sees
Shout
it.
out.
Yeah, Mr. Cassius. I hope to see him tomorrow when I go. So he saw me play, and he was like, "Dude, you're playing at a festival with me." And it was We Out Here Festival. I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And there was Thundercat playing that day. When we were playing.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was like my first festival, and then but I didn't play the festival the first time I went to London. It was the second time I went to London then. But the last jam, that was mind blowing, because I ended up playing with Tom Dressler, who is the bass player of Adele, the famous singer, and Tom Misch,
Wow.
and Joseph Days. And I played with an incredible drummer called Lux. And he played with Mansour Brown, which is in the scene of Joseph Days. Fast forward to today, I'm now going to play with him again, but not in a jam, in Josh Short's group. Sega Horns.
Wow.
So
And all of this started from you taking that leap of
risk.
faith, going and just finding a jam and jamming out with the locals.
That's it. And what I realized, though, is, funnily enough, I don't want to give a bad name to Malta, because as I was saying before, this is my root. Malta's my roots, and it has prepared me for where I'm going and where I went. But I did feel a lot more confidence in London than I feel in Malta.
In Malta, there tends to be a bit of a judgmental aura around certain music scenes. Not all.
Not all. I
Not
wouldn't
all.
say just judgmental. I would say, I don't know. It's like here, if you get really good in Malta, people don't always like that. I feel.
Yeah.
They don't always like that.
Yeah, you make them seem worse by comparison.
Not make them seem
I mean,
worse.
if you're getting better, why aren't
We're
they
just
getting
bad at
better,
supporting each other.
like-
Yeah, I think...
No, but that's how they see it. That's what I'm saying.
They might see
Why
it.
else would they be upset?
I mean, I understand that to a certain degree. We're a very small island, so we don't have a lot to compare to. Like when I went to London, for example, oh my gosh, there's great, insane musicians everywhere.
Yeah.
And the level is insane, because you have much more access to also watching bands who are insane. I'm not saying that we don't have insane bands
No,
here.
but you also have better access to musical education.
That's what I'm talking
You have
about.
proper music schools that
Yes.
will give you opportunities to play with
Definitely.
some great musicians, networking.
Definitely.
It's a lot. And you also have record labels abroad, which if you get signed
Agents,
to one,
yeah.
agents, there's a lot of things that unfortunately in Malta we don't have.
We don't.
So
It's a slower
obviously when you go
process.
abroad, yes.
It's a
very
slower
slow
process in Malta, unfortunately. And the thing is, I don't want it to be like that because I love Malta.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Like, it's really funny. I really want to, and that's what I'm doing, is I'm going to London a lot and planning to go to different places, but I'm building quite of a network in London. But somehow I really feel that Malta has this insane potential, and I've been seeing it, like, and I know that it can, because everyone says, Malta zaira, Malta is small. The mentality is small, not the island.
Yeah. Definitely.
There's a big difference.
We've had some amazing people from Malta who've made it big.
100%. There's
Actors,
Joseph Calleja, for example.
musicians.
You
Definitely.
know, there are a lot of others that I'm blanking out, but and there are also other people like in America, which come from a countryside that we don't even know what country that is, and that made it really.
Definitely.
That made it.
I mean, if we take something simple of something that just happened this year, I mean, with the Eurovision contestant that we had with Mariana,
yeah.
whether you liked the song or you didn't
Yeah.
like the song, there was a lot of backlash when she
Yes.
came out with that song of like,
Yep.
how are we serving cunt? Like this
Yeah,
is foul.
yeah.
Why are we sending this out to represent our? The mentality here was very small, and
Yep.
obviously the people who were in the team behind that knew that out there. That's not the same
It's
mentality.
not
Out
the
there,
same,
this
yeah.
is going to blow up. And it did.
Yep,
You know, so whether
yeah.
you agreed or you didn't agree or whatever the case, she went and she proved that out there was more. People understood the
agree.
vision, and she made a big wave.
I wish that she stood by a bit more. I wish that she was like, for example, a friend of mine told me this, and where she would, even as simple like this, like for example, no, of course, I don't mean what you're saying.
I mean, she probably started with that.
I
would
wish
assume
she owned it a
started
bit
with
more.
it.
I mean, I wish she owned it more, not because I agree with it.
I think
Not
there
because I agree
came,
with it.
No, I know what you mean.
I mean, if she believed in that, she should have owned it.
Yeah.
She should have owned it a bit more. And
Oh,
at
like I am serving cunt, so what?
or what? Yeah. If that was her message, you know.
It was her message.
You can't.
You're gonna be blind of every kind of everything for that to-
But at the same
Nothing wrong
time, you
with
can't
it, too.
blame her because
There were a lot of guidelines in place. There
Exactly.
was a lot of you
Exactly.
unfortunately, like we said before, to break the rules, you need to know the rules.
Amen.
And sometimes to get out there,
I
you
agree.
need to abide by the rules.
I agree.
And I feel like she did own it after the Eurovision
I do.
ended. Then she
Yeah,
was
yeah,
like, it's
yeah.
no longer serving, guys. It's serving.
It's,
cunt."
yeah,
you know,
fair,
like she went
fair.
back to it.
Okay, she did.
So
Okay.
yes. So there was, but I
Okay,
get
that's good
your
to know.
perspective as well with it.
You're
I mean,
right. You make a
there's-
good point. Very, very, very
There's a
valid point.
lot that happens in Malta that I feel like makes people remain small.
Yeah.
And it's such a pity because instead of really helping musicians and local musicians grow, we tend to chain them down a bit more and
Yeah.
kind of say, but you know, you have certain festivals you can play in Malta and then you have this and that. And then where do you go after that?
Yeah.
Once you've peaked in Malta.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, but
Tribali,
in
for
just being
example.
realistic, like this isn't some contrived issue. I think it is a small place. Like how many times are you gonna play again in the same few small towns, or even people from the next town over? Like we just drive to the gig and we see it. So
But this
it's
is
not
the
like
thing. We
you
need
know
more
there-
opportunities to get musicians
Well,
abroad,
we're in the European
overseas.
Union. I mean, yeah, and you're
Yeah.
even going in England.
Yeah,
and
but
stuff.
has music ever been a priority within, you know, these grants or these?
We
There
do.
are,
Malta gives
there
quite a few.
are.
No?
I'm not gonna lie. Yeah? I mean, like for
I
example,
feel locally, internationally not as much.
Without sounding bad, and I do feel a bit disappointed, but I don't feel like it's a big thing, and I'm pretty sure that I eventually would. But for example, my music is considered like coming from the jazz world, you know,
Mm-hmm.
but I never played at the jazz fest.
Do they get more like foreign artists generally?
They get session musicians that are local.
Yes, yes.
But they do get, usually the lineup is all
It's
international.
mostly focused on the international act.
I guess from their perspective, it's like
It's how to
you
pull
would
people
do,
in.
say, 10 or more gigs already a year in Malta. So they're like,
But
if
this
we're
is the
doing this
thing.
festival with a high budget, we should get someone we can't normally see.
100%. And
Well,
I am all for bringing international
agree.
artists down.
I
but
agree.
what can happen?
But maybe you go
with-
back up with them. Like, you make a connection with who comes down.
But the thing is this, like if I have to go abroad, all you see is the local guys.
Really?
Like
Yeah.
I played at the jazz festival, Love Supreme Jazz Festival in not in London. I think it starts with G. I forgot the name of the. It's outside London, but it's not far. So I was like, man, someone came down to watch my show, and she told me like, you're gonna play at the Love Supreme Jazz Festival. And I wish like, for example, with my music, if you had to think about it.
So you had more luck playing a festival there abroad where it's just them bringing their own people, but they're like, let's bring KYL0 along too.
Yeah.
Than actually in Malta. I mean, it's true once you put it in that perspective. But from the perspective of the audience, it's like how I said before, because the local artists you can hear at local gigs. So I think the priority with a festival would be to like create memorable experiences. Like someone says, "Oh, like that band, I knew them when I was a kid." You know,
I would
and
agree with
see it live,
I would
you know?
agree with you, but the acts, the Maltese acts, they're usually the same people who are playing. So they've seen them festival after festival, which, mind you,
Oh, so they do bring Maltese
Yes.
acts. I thought
Yes,
you
yes,
said
yes.
it's
Musicians,
mostly.
session musicians they
they
bring.
do. So
But-
I have
What's a
nothing.
session musician exactly?
So Sfera are not sessionists. I think they're actually a band.
Did they play at
I
Jazz
think
Fest?
I'm not sure if they played at this one. They brought Glenn Montanaro, which I was really happy about.
Yes, but again, like a session musician who then becomes a part of a guy, I guess, a
I think
lineup.
it was. I think it was his project, though. It was under
Yes?
his name.
Okay,
Yes,
amazing.
yes. So there was that. But then they're usually, like you said, they would be session musicians. Is like it's not really a band. They're not a band, but they happen to pick these musicians to play at
for that specific thing.
for that
Okay,
specific
yeah.
thing, you know. And again, like there are
Like
people.
you are technically going up as a session musician to play in London with
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. Technically, yes. But then again, like I understand, like if people like Paul Abella, Dominic Galli are gonna play, these people shaped the
100%.
They shaped
100%.
more,
I
and
think,
even Chris Piteri, for example,
Yes.
which is one of my favorite piano players in Malta. You know,
but the
even Joe
problem
De Bono.
is, where would we go after?
Exactly.
Once you, for example, let's take something that you're very familiar with, Tribali,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Tribali have played at all of the big festivals in
Yeah.
Malta, and they've also played. I mean, you guys have played abroad as well in
Yeah.
huge festivals. You still are,
Yeah.
but let's just take Malta, right, for context. You've played at all the big festivals. What's after that? You know what I mean? You guys have a very loyal fan base, and I think that's what really keeps you guys going because people love your music, and
Yeah.
you're constantly coming up with new things,
yeah,
which is amazing. But for the smaller musicians, right?
Yeah.
Once they get these big festival gigs, once they've played on these big stages, what then? And I feel like that's where then everything dies out. You know, we look at artists, for example, if we look at the Tinia Barracks movement in the 80s, I mean, there were fantastic musicians from that time. Fantastic. Some musicians that even made it in America and were very well known, and then they would still come down to Malta and play here. But now looking back, and you still get to speak to some of these musicians that stayed in Malta, they're all just, you know, normal people.
Yeah.
As in they've got their normal jobs, families, they've stopped music. Maybe some of them still kind of jam out and play and whatever, like
Yeah.
for themselves. But there's nothing more,
Yeah.
you know? And that's what I feel like gets lost.
Yeah.
Maltese musicians tend to, at one point or another, they die out.
they die out, and I understand because they're going through a lot of pain, which I'm going through. It's
What
hard.
pain is that?
The pain is that I've been working
My air shaft.
My air shaft. I am 29, and yet I still can't afford a house, how longer am I going to remain like this?
Well, that would be the case with basically any career. I mean, at age 29.
Not any career, not any
Most
career.
There are people who bought a house through being a full-time musician in Malta, and I know a lot.
With a loan or flat out?
No. I think everyone with a loan.
Everyone.
Kalahar is flat out, guys. Get me into this industry.
Exactly. Emma, what I'm saying is that musicians that do they can afford houses, they have to just basically just do weddings, functions,
Yeah.
And playing other people's music, which is fine. It's a job as well. And fill up your time with students and rarely have any time for you to actually be creative.
Yeah, but it's like before you said with like the music as a business, and I was like all going in my head. So
Yeah.
like clearly there's music just as an art form, and then there's the business side of it for who is trying to make it a career.
Yeah.
Like obviously meeting the demand with these weddings and stuff is just by far the most like effective, and meeting that and teaching students like the stuff you just mentioned.
Yeah.
Like, and then I think probably the more meaningful, not to say it in that way, it's like when you do what you want, the more like self-serving to or what you want to make.
So you're being self-employed.
Because I feel like, I don't know, maybe I sometimes just have this fantasy and people think it's like, man, I'm just going to get the thing I want to do. I'm going to do what I really want to do. And this is a magical thing and everyone will love it. But actually it never really seems to pan out. So could it be like a viable move for like some musicians just to play for money in like the ways people want? So then they feel more free, so that they can just really do what they want instead of like trying to meld it into one thing. I would imagine like sectioning it off as a business.
You make a very good point. So this is a matter of how much you are willing to. So you have two worlds where, as I've seen it happen with my group, with even musicians who I know that were so passionate, and then all of a sudden it faded off, and they went to their old job and become an accountant, and so that they can make a living.
Mm-hmm.
But then you'll have like insane people like I am,
Crazy,
and just going all out, and basically not giving up until you have reached your own goal. And your own goal doesn't necessarily mean to be famous. It's just, even if it's a matter of you have enough work with your own thing that can sustain you and eventually a family. Not to have a villa. I mean, if a villa comes, it's great.
hell yeah.
It's not really entirely out of this world what I'm talking about either, just
of course, like especially
have,
like with the making sacrifices, like playing what people want, it's not at all, right?
Yeah. So what I mean is like it's not entirely out of this world to come to a point where you earn enough where you can sustain yourself.
And to be fair, because I think the way
you
I
don't
said
need
it,
that much money.
It's like as if I was speaking down on like making the library of original work. I think that's an investment in the future, because there is a chance that if you build up a large library of original work, like it's going to bring back dividends in multiple forms slowly for the rest of your life.
Yeah, in my case,
obviously it's not that instant thing like you played a gig for someone.
No. I mean, it's again, it depends what you want. It really depends on what you want. So people who decides to just do weddings and do functions and all this stuff, and sacrifice the creative side so they can get enough money so that they can buy a house, I kind of root for them, man, because I wish I had that character instill in me, because it would have
make life easier.
It would have made life easier, but there's something inside me that doesn't let me do that, and I've tried it many times and I failed.
Fair, yeah.
But this is something that I kept consistent. It's always something that I really kept.
It's more real. It's like
it felt more real, and I feel like this rope that is naturally pushing me. And if I didn't see things move forward, I wouldn't probably have gotten this far either. Because
I mean, you've had many successes along the way, so I guess it's easier to now project it happening in the future than when you were 14, you're like, I don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I'm not gonna lie. There was a point, when I was younger, that it was just a dream. But it being a dream and then actually making it happen are two different things. Two different things. When you're trying to make it happen, oh my gosh, it's I can't even say.
I had
man.
a dream in music, tried to make it happen. Was like, this is not for
scary.
me.
It's
I'm
scary.
cutting the CD on, like it's not for me. Like honestly,
it's scary. It's
a
scary.
lot of work. It is a huge amount of
it's
work
scary
and
because-
quite underappreciated, really.
Yeah, it is underappreciated. It's actually scary, and it takes a lot of time away from your family. It takes away time. Even with my own partner, and we wish we can have more time together as well.
You need to practice that much. It's literally
it's not
like,
about the
I
practice.
can't go out. I gotta.
So
because you would
It's about
travel or
everything.
It's everything. It's logistics. Because
And you are both musicians.
yeah, we're both
So,
musicians.
I mean-
So there's the practice. The practice it takes hours if you want to get really, really good at anything. But there was this saxophone player who mentioned it. He's the saxophone player of Snarky Puppy, if I'm not mistaken. Rob something. I forgot his surname. I'm really bad with names. But he said, like, there comes a point where that's why it's important to start at an early age to practice, because when you grow there, you're not going to really have time to practice. It's not going to be much about practice. It's going to be about logistics, touring, time away from
business
it's
side
going to be
comes
the business side is going to come in, and that is what takes a lot of time, unless you're rich and you have people that do it for you, or you have a label that can do that stuff for you, and you can just stick around there with your instrument and just play. I mean, I used to do like around 8 to 12 hours a day of practicing since I was 10 till 15. That's how much I used to practice a day.
Jeez.
No,
How's that even like what? You just get home from school and you're
Yeah,
like,
and-
I'm
and-
going to use
yeah,
the instrument.
that's it. That's it.
It
was
was
literally-
like,
My life, I didn't have a social life. I was antisocial. By the time I started to have my first gigs, I didn't even know how to speak with people. I was such a quiet guy.
you just spend all your time playing it. Like,
That's
that is
it.
actually a lot of time.
It's-
I wouldn't even have imagined.
So, because some people also like, people, they tell me like, man, you're so gifted, you're so talented. Yeah, but I actually spent those hours.
yeah.
It's not just my talent.
There is
My
talent
talent,
there,
but-
but most of it is skill that you acquire because you put in the time.
Time, definitely. I had to work really hard. I mean, there was a point where I couldn't keep tempo. And I remember my mom telling me, you have to work on your tempo.
And in the beginning, like when you first picked up, what was your first instrument? After the guitar?
the
after
guitar,
singing?
yes. I
You
did the
picked
guitar
it up,
for...
like you felt straight away like, oh, I'm
Yes.
doing well. There was no like initial frustration.
For
you felt
me-
like it was for you. Sort of.
So when I picked it up, I could already envision myself that I was not in my house. The first time I picked up the guitar, I wasn't in my head. I wasn't in my house. I was already on stage. And that's how I actually gotten better, because I used to spend hours thinking that I'm actually playing the song. If you had to hear me, it was horrible, but I would actually imagine that I'm playing it exactly like that.
Oh,
And
so
by
you
time-
like you enjoyed the process because in your head it was good. like.
Yeah. And in actual fact, it was horrible. Even when I used to take the guitar to school, and they used to switch off my amp because it was horrible.
Damn.
Yeah, of course, man. I felt so sorry
They
for them.
literally cut
But
your mic.
but I used to put it back on because I want to play, And
Yeah.
and there were
That's quite ballsy. Like you weren't just like, oh no, they don't like it. You're like, fuck you.
no,
I wanna put it on. I wanna
yeah,
keep.
because I just wanted to play. For me, I want to play, and that's it. And by time I started to get closer to the records, I actually started to get closer. So what I'm trying
What
to
is
say,
closer to the record? Oh,
actually,
your sound.
my
Okay,
sound, like
alright.
I actually copied the solo of Megadeth, and it started to happen,
Nice.
And so what I'm trying to say is that the vision and envisioning myself played much of a
No worries.
oopsie. The vision played much of a bigger role than the practice itself, because the vision is what fueled my
That's what motivated you daily, kind of
Yeah,
thing.
and that's everything. Like everyone who became successful, in my opinion, is because they had a vision. It started from a vision.
What was your vision?
My vision was to play on stage and
But were you confident enough from when you started
Yes.
to practice that you were in that time in your life to go straight to stage?
Yes, I was more confident then than I am now.
Wow. What changed from then to now?
Probably you were a bit more naive, right? Like
Yes.
you've seen things.
Probably. And what changed, I think, from now is that I think as I started to get older, I started to become a bit more critical. I started to have a voice in my head, which was a lot more opinionated,
Okay.
you could say. So, sometimes I give a hard time to myself, because I also know that I don't have that time and luxury anymore.
Fair enough.
And because I don't have that time and luxury anymore, I start to feel guilty that I don't have that time to practice. So I start to automatically think that my quality is going to be less. But in actual fact, it doesn't work like that. I still practice,
Yes.
but not those hours.
In a different way. But for example, taking this album, right? Let's take My Friend.
Yeah.
With that, was that part of you completing your vision?
Yes.
You completing something that you always envisioned yourself doing?
Yes.
Where can you take us back a bit, like where this song came from?
Which one? The song?
My
or-
Friend.
My Friend. Okay.
The Turkish song.
So let's begin from here. So the reason why... Oh my gosh, I'm so sweaty.
Like, why is a man? Oh, don't worry, same.
the
Fans,
lights.
guys. There it is.
So the reason why I started to play music is because I was actually quite alone in the house. My mom had a different house, and it was like literally the house. Sorry, an apartment. My mom had 2 apartments at that point. She had where she teaches the students, and then she had where her kids used to live. With my siblings. And at that point, my siblings were both much older than I was. So my brother was partying, so he's never at home. He used to sleep at his friend's house. And my sister had musicals, had a job, and then she moved to London as well for a bit. So I didn't really have
A family dynamic.
a family dynamic. So my family dynamic was me and the guitar. So in essence...
Oh, I'm like an only child with like very few family members, like busy fairs. Like I
Yeah.
totally get the like entertaining yourself as a
Yeah.
child, like finding your own like.
Definitely.
you know?
It was a sense of entertainment, but it was a sense of also expressing the pain that I was going through since I was a kid. So for me, music was always
That escape.
that escape. But then later on, I started to realize that's when I started to take care of more of my relationship, is that music showed me that you can't escape then.
You have to face it.
I had to face
One
it
way or another.
one way or another.
Oh,
But
wow.
but music for me always came from a place where I wanted to, like I was saying before, to communicate, whether it's what I'm going through or whether it's just me being in stillness and being in the moment and sharing that.
So why Turkish?
It's a Turkish. So
Like, what was
Okay, let's
so
go there.
deep about such a silly song about a man who loves to eat
okay,
posh
so
Turkish all the time?
the Bujibba people.
The Bujibba people.
The Bujibba people at that
Ah,
time.
you're from
what do they call
Bujibba.
Bujibians?
I'm from
Aura.
Salina.
From
Ah,
Aura. So across
the sea.
My dad is a Bujibian.
Vera.
Nice.
It was a big community. Sofra was like a thing then, back then.
It used to
especially-
be good. It really went downhill like more than 5 years ago.
Yes,
It went
yes.
downhill. But it was good,
that point, there was the games room next to it.
Ah, yes.
Oh, yeah.
There was the games
Bujibba
room.
games room.
We grew up with Sofra. It was cheap, and you can get like a wrap at that point for like €2.50.
Amazing.
And it's like just
Wow,
massive.
really?
I think something like
Sure,
that.
that's
Stuff like something like
Whoa.
or four.
I think
Back in the
450
day.
is my earliest memory,
Yes,
but you're a bit
450.
older, so like
450, I
250,
think.
Jesus.
I'm not sure. I might be wrong. I think it is like 450. My
So
memory.
anyway, I'm interrupting.
My memory
Jan.
is very hazy from back then, because let's not get into that. But yeah, so I grew up with Turkish, but then at the age of 19, 20, by that time I was always an obese person. I was always like around 140 kilograms. And
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Like in
Yeah.
very obese.
Yes, like very obese, for sure. Bil-Malti nejdu tank ħara kont.
How did it feel? Because
Oh
honestly,
my
like,
god.
Miskin, le, Kylo, little Kylo.
you can't say that out of
Give the
offense.
boy
to
a
the-
hug.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't taking care of myself. And
How did it, like, I always wonder, because this has been on my head like my whole life. When you see someone who's reached like such a level of obesity, like, how did it not like say 10 or 20 kilos earlier? Like, was there not a point, like you were already like, wow, like I'm immobile, this is getting in the way, this feels uncomfortable. And somehow, or would you not notice, like in your head, where you're thinking you're
I
thin,
mean-
or how does it just work? I guess for you, it's not far from, but this is, I'm so curious about this. And it's like, you wouldn't normally ask it.
no,
Obviously, you know?
you have every right to ask something like that, and I think it's good to have some insight
You think
about
it would
that.
just be like a coping mechanism, like you knew you don't want to,
100%.
but it's like an addiction.
Like
It's
everything else. That's exactly it. You
Mm.
answered it yourself. That's what it is. It was a coping mechanism for me. It was a drug, literally. And that was my way. I didn't want to. Obviously, I don't want to be fat. I never wanted to be fat, you know. And I thought that I was going to be like that for the rest of my life, because that's how I
probably
always
quite
was.
depressing. Like you
mean,
were resigned to it, or you accepted
there
it.
was a point I accepted it, and I didn't,
Mhm.
not fully. I accepted that this is my image now. Tipo, I'm
That's
a
how
rebel.
it is. Like,
You know, tipo.
fuck the system.
But,
I do what I want to.
But then there was a point where it was affecting me to the point where, you know, I was smoking a lot and being obese, so I was ending up in hospital.
in
so
your
that
20s.
Not in my 20s, in my 18.
Wow. Yeah.
17, 18. It was really bad, and I had my first wake-up call.
Mm.
And that's where I got the shock. I was like, okay, I'm either going to continue smoking and eating this amount of food and end up dead, or actually make a change, you know? And thankfully, I decided to make a change.
So this self-image change was something that was planned because of your health, or was planned
Yeah.
because of something other exterior motives?
So-
Like, did music ever play a part in that?
No, music made me feel safe.
Okay.
Music made me feel safe that I was like that, you know? It was like my invisibility cloak. Like
People are paying attention to the music.
to the music, and it was fine.
Interesting.
Obviously, I couldn't have. It was harder for me to have certain confidence with women. I didn't have at the age of 16. I didn't have that relationship that everyone has. I wouldn't say everyone, but it's obviously harder when. I wouldn't say it's hard because I was obese. The fact that I know that I was obese, and the fact that I put in my head that you're not going to be able to go out with attractive women. I already put that into the world. So it's not really just because you're obese. It's also a mental thing, because I've seen people who are obese and they have most beautiful partners, you know. But it obviously plays a role whether you like it or not, you know. But it was I started to make the change because of the fact that it started to become a health problem, and I didn't want to die.
Obviously.
And it was becoming bad, you know. It was becoming really bad. I was going to hospital very often, and I had asthma as well, which didn't help.
Okay.
So that's where I started to have a wake-up call, and decided to, with Turkish, then I started just to eat salad from Turkish, no more kebabs, and I ate the salad. And
Just the plain salad.
just the plain salad.
You can order just the salad.
Yes, in a box or in a plate. My friend.
My friend.
Sell it, my friend.
But did that then also change the way that you expressed yourself? When you went through that journey, obviously it was very hard. So you started then reducing in weight. So you started seeing yourself differently.
Yes.
And people started seeing you differently.
Definitely.
Did that have any effect whatsoever on the way that you looked at music, played music, or even just viewed yourself as a musician?
100%. 100%. So losing weight in itself is a journey. It's a
Yes.
process. I started just going back to the gym now because I started to lack a bit because of work and the stress of life. But the process, it's a lot of will. It's a mental. It's pretty much a mental game. It's a mental game, you know. And the fact that I managed until so I was, I don't know, at the age of 20, I started to see the change. But by the age of 24 is when I reached my goal. I got to 75 kilograms. So I think if you make the maths from 140,
You almost halved.
halved.
Like that, or
You know,
half.
and
That's
75
crazy.
for my height is
Very like standard.
it's
good, like,
standard.
really
I mean,
good.
almost underweight, you could say,
Mm.
because for my height and it would like 80 to 85 with muscle
You're quite
mass.
tall, yeah.
It's good, you know. But the process has definitely gave me some sort of power, mental power that I can apply to. Case in point, the album launch, all the challenges that I went through, losing that weight and having that challenge. Now I can apply that to other things in life, and that's something that I can carry on for the rest of my life. And I know that I have that switch.
And I
Sometimes you
think
lose.
with the physical stuff, like with the fitness, is like having something really reliable that like you can progress on. Because especially say as like a musician who's also an independent business and all this stuff, it's like aren't any work, but especially there, like things are unstable. They
Yeah.
always rely on him or her, and now this went out and what. It's like all external. It's all beyond your control. So I think it's just a better coping mechanism. It's like, you know, this feeling like, oh, I can control what I eat, I can eat so much food. Well, you can get like the same high from controlling what you eat, just eating so little or doing the workouts and stuff, right? Like,
Yes, but
and it's a control no one can take.
yeah,
Like technically, God forbid, like your career can be taken in any field. Like no one's gonna take your physical health. Like no
No.
one's gonna come put cigarettes in your mouth,
no,
like give you burgers.
cigarettes in your mouth. I mean, if you go to a
Well,
gig,
you flick it down, no.
or you're gonna have people blow
But
smoke.
Second-hand
it's-
smoke
it's
is
harder.
annoying.
But yeah, obviously,
It's part of the. It does become part of the lifestyle. As much
Yeah.
as it's a
Fair.
lot more hard. It's harder to control. It's very hard to control in
Yeah.
that sense.
Yeah.
Especially with the societal pressures of when you're playing music and then things that are tied to it. It becomes a bit more hard to say
Definitely.
no.
yeah.
But does
yeah.
anyone really care? Like, is anyone in the audience going to be like, oh my God, he put down the cigarette. Like, I need to leave. Like, no one's going to know that. Either
No,
these are
it's
in our
more
head
yourself, yes.
to
It's you.
convince
But this is the
ourselves,
thing.
you know?
Yeah, I mean, when I cut, now I'm like, even from smoking, I have been cut it. It's been 9 years. I haven't touched it, and
Whoa.
Wow, amazing.
Nice.
and I hate the smell
Wow.
now. That's what's funny, and I don't want people smoking around me because it actually affects me somehow.
Yeah, you feel it like a bit sickening.
Yeah. And but my group of friends all smoked, so it was really tough, especially going to jam sessions at Fraben. Like everyone smokes there. And it was so tough because everyone is like, okay, let's take a cigarette, let's take a.
Sometimes when I would be like not smoking and I go into like a club or room and people are smoking to an extent, like you can get the nicotine feeling. Like I've definitely
Yeah.
gotten the nicotine feeling when you're not regularly smoking at that point in
Yeah.
time and you're just like walking in this room. Like it's so much.
Yeah, for sure.
But obviously that was a very big shift. I
Yeah.
mean, with the weight challenges, also with the background that you had on your home, is there another shift that you are looking to make in the future? Is there something else that, I mean, you've done a lot now, especially in this last year. This album has been, 3 years in the making?
Yes.
Something of the sort.
Yeah.
So it's been a long time coming, and now you're finally launching everything. These next 2 months are going to be a lot for you.
Yeah.
So you're completing a lot of what's been on your goal list for a while.
Thank God, yes.
Is there anything after that you're kind of projecting to see now that you're like, this is my next goal?
Now after releasing all this material, I've been working on this for so long, because the whole point is going to be that I'm going to be playing this all over the world as much as possible. So the next plan is touring. And
Kylo in Thailand.
Yeah.
That look was like,
No. I $5 Thai massage. I like.
Oh wow, nice little happy ending there.
Oh, it would be great if I could play in Thailand. It would be great. One of my dreams is to play in Japan.
Okay.
Definitely. But I don't want to just tour as Kylo, as playing music. I also want to tour as an educator. I love hosting master classes. And that is one of the things that I would really like as well while I'm doing Kylo. Partially part of it that I will also host classes, master classes, part of the tour of Kylo. So yeah, that's the
It's
aim.
a nice idea. You sort of like ripple on with what you've learned as well.
Yes,
Like,
I want to, because
you share it and leave it for others as well.
I want
And this
to
man
share.
has a lot to share. You have a lot to teach people. And I feel like still people have a lot to teach you. The more that you travel out there, you're going to keep on learning so much, which is the beauty about
And
music.
that's what I want. I always want to be pushed. I always want to surround myself with people who are better than me, because I want to become.
You're only as good as the 7 people that you hang around with.
Yeah,
So-
fair. But yeah, I'm definitely going to say the same thing when I'm 80 years old, and I'm going to be like, wow, I have so much more to learn. So it's a never end.
Fantastic.
It's a never ending. I feel that this album launch was a beginning, and
Wow.
of learning,
A whole trajectory of a whole new book
Yes,
yet to come.
yeah.
Not just a chapter, a whole ass book.
Yes, for sure. It's the beginning.
Amazing.
It's definitely the beginning.
Well, Kylo, thank you for sitting down with
We're
us.
done?
Thank you for
Well,
we've been
unless
going
you have
for
any closing
funky.
thoughts. Our
Funky, what's-
maximum time. We've got a bit of maximum
Shout out.
time left.
One
Shout you.
1 hour 30 minutes on
Oh!
the freaking dot, guys. Wow. There we go.
He listens to it. Oh, how sweet. It makes me happy.
So yes, any
Was great. Like,
funky in the house.
nice
man.
meeting you.
Man, you guys, I'm sorry, I'm sweaty, yeah?
Don't worry.
That's why we
I don't like sweaty
Looped
men.
up.
I don't have water. I'm gonna leave you hanging, Johnny.
There we go. But Kylo, listen, is there anything that you want to tell people out there, aspiring musicians, something that you think you should have heard 19 years ago, but didn't?
Yeah. I think one thing that I would maybe tell musicians, if they're starting out, I don't know if I'm completely wrong with this, but at least this is how it was for my experience, is that if they're starting out, don't necessarily go to a teacher first. First, do your work, try and do it without a teacher, and then go to a teacher.
Wow.
You'll have good questions to ask, I suppose.
And I realized this through therapy, because I've done a lot of work before I believe that therapy can be good for me. And it was a lot easier for the therapist to say certain things. I could understand a bit better. So
The work starts from within before you go and find it from
yes,
external sources.
And I'm saying this because it will be easier for you to find your teacher and your mentor if you start first.
Instead of them shaping you.
You start to shape yourself,
Yeah.
and you find your mentor that that will shape what you want.
That is great advice.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's literally the epitome of what you went through.
Yeah.
You did everything backwards, and you're telling people do things backwards, guys. Just do it. You never know.
It might not work for everyone, but who knows? It might work for one person.
Amazing. Thank you, Kylo. This has been fantastic. This has been the first episode of The Last One.
Yeah.
We did it, guys. We got
Yeah.
through it. A lot of sweating, a lot of gorillas.
Yes.
Random ass studio. 1-for-1 records, the entire team. But it's gonna be a good one, guys. Stay
Check
tuned.
Kylo's album out November 7th.
Definitely.
Stay tuned to this
and go
channel.
listen to my friend, guys. Turkish.
Sorry. Every 14th of the month, a fresh episode right off the block.
And if you have
my
any-
friend, the Turkish song from Kylo.
There we go. But if you have any suggestions on who you think we should speak to next or who you want to listen to next, let us know. And yeah,
Yes.
this has been the one and only Kylo. We have been Jeanine and Luc. Peace.
Thanks.
Drink your water.
Peace.
Yes. Drink your water.